Welcome! My name is Sydney Metter and I am a fangirl. Hey guys, so today I want to talk about one of the most important parts of being in a fandom, and that is shipping. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, shipping is basically just taking two characters in one fictional universe, or in real life, or in two separate universes, and deciding that you want them to be together. This doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually together, or that they ever will be together, but that definitely means that you want them to be, and you think that they should be. And anyone who's ever been on Tumblr can tell you that these different ships can often lead to huge wars within the fandoms. And thus, shipping wars are born. Okay, I'm one of those people where I have to know who I ship someone with. I need to be 100% certain. I believe in soulmates, and I believe that there's one person out there for everyone, and that is the person that someone needs to be with. And when I can't decide who I ship someone with, it is crazy stressful for me. Like, it just drives me insane. And one problem I had for the longest time was trying to figure out who I shipped Buffy with. It was terrible. So today we're gonna talk about Spuffy versus Bangel. Okay, so for anyone who hasn't seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it's a TV show about a teenage girl who is chosen to rid the world of vampires, demons, and the forces of darkness. She is the Slayer. I'm sorry, I had to. And if you haven't seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you should definitely give it a try. It is by King of the Nerds himself, Joss Whedon, and it is incredible. It is so inspiring if you're a young girl. I mean, it's probably inspiring for anyone, but it was definitely inspiring for me growing up. Also, this video might be kind of confusing if you haven't seen the show, so you might want to go ahead and go watch all 7 seasons and then come back. Okay, so throughout the show, Buffy's two main love interests are Spike and Angel. And the twist is that they're both vampires despite the fact that she's supposed to slay vampires. And even though the show ended almost 10 years ago, fans are still trying to figure out who they ship Buffy with. It's still a huge war in the fandom. I finally came to my conclusion on this, but it was very, very close for a long time. So at the end of the video, I will tell you that, but before that, I'm basically gonna share some of the struggles and questions I had when I was still trying to figure out who was the best choice for Buffy. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna talk about is souls. Now, when we first meet Angel, he does have his soul. He's gotten it back several years ago because of a gypsy curse, and it's not until mid-season 2 that he loses his soul again. And it's at this point that he becomes the big bad for that season. Angel's a pretty bad guy when he doesn't have his soul. Like, he's terrible. Basically, what was once a love for Buffy has now become an obsessive need to terrorize Buffy and all of her friends. And then there's Spike. So when we first meet Spike in season 2, he doesn't have a soul, and he doesn't get a soul until season 7. But he falls in love with Buffy in season 5, which a lot of Spuffy fans appreciate because he falls in love with Buffy when, by his very nature as a vampire, he probably shouldn't be falling in love. But a lot of Bangel fans argue that Spike had a chip implanted in his head in season 4, which made it impossible for him to be violent to any living or innocent creatures, which kind of forced him to join the Scooby Gang. A lot of Spuffy fans also argue that Spike actually fought for his soul. He went to retrieve his own soul because of his love for Buffy, while Angel lost his soul because of his love for Buffy. Awkward. The second thing I'm going to talk about is the terrible things that Spike and Angel did while they didn't have souls. Okay, so I kind of touched on this a little bit already, but Angel was a horrible person when he didn't have his soul. He killed Miss Calendar, one of Buffy's teachers who she was very close to. He emotionally and physically tortured Giles, and he was relentless in his torturing of Buffy. And honestly, what he did to Buffy was so much worse because he knew how she felt about him and he used that against her. So basically, anything that Angel did during this time was completely unforgivable. And then there's Spike, and this is a trigger warning, so if this is a problem for you, please turn off this video now. But there was a scene in season 6 where Spike tried to rape Buffy. Obviously, this is a very touchy subject, but some Spuffy fans might argue that this is what made Spike decide that he needed to get his soul, because he wanted to be the kind of guy that Buffy deserved, and he just could not do that without a soul. So at this point you're probably thinking, wow, these guys sound terrible. Why would Buffy be with either of these people? And yeah, Yeah, there are times where that is definitely true. But the third thing I'm going to talk about is the amazing things these guys do. Okay, so like I said, Angel has his soul for most of the series. And for the years that he was on Buffy, not only was he a lot of help to the group, but he also was a very good motivator for Buffy when she needed to believe in herself and what she was doing. And then there's Spike. Guys, Spike's speech in season 7 is still one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard in my entire life. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, there's a scene where Spike goes to comfort Buffy after all of her friends and family betray her and kick her out of her own home, despite the fact that she saved all of their lives and in fact the whole world multiple times. Isn't that hilarious? So basically, Buffy had pretty much lost hope in everything. She thought that this was finally going to be the fight that she would lose. But Spike was there to help her believe in herself, and I think that that is so beautiful and so wonderful. But that's the thing, isn't it? Even though Spike had that great speech, Angel has had tons of instances where he was there for Buffy too. So the question is, who's right for her? Who's the one that's going to help her through the fight? Who's going to be the person that she needs? It's come to that point of the video. I'm gonna tell you who I ship Buffy with. After long hours of consideration, I finally decided that I ship Buffy with Angel. Spuffy fans, please don't hate me. I love Spike. I think that he's one of the best characters on the entire show. His character development is amazing. But I think in the end, the person that Buffy's always gonna love the most and the person that she's always gonna need the most is Angel. I think the episode that really solidified this for me was the episode after Buffy's mom dies and Angel's there to comfort her. It's not a very romantic episode. They kind of just sit and talk, but just being with Angel is what really helped her through that situation. Because it's not just a romantic relationship. They're friends, they're partners in crime, they're there to protect each other when they need it. And I think that that is what really makes Angel the right person for Buffy. Okay, if you have anything you'd like to add to this video or different arguments that you've come across on Tumblr, please put it in the comments below. Guys, please remember to be respectful. I know that shipping wars can get pretty heated, but just remember it's okay for someone to have a different opinion as you as long as no one gets hurt. And I really want to make more videos like this, so if you enjoyed my shipping war video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe below. Until next time, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, good night.